each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
I shorten that song up. I keep threatening to do it. It's about 3 seconds too long. And I know in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't sound like much, but when it comes to something like that, it counts. It counts. Oh man, right on. People that I don't even know just commenting on my stuff. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. A lot of people are finding me lately. I don't know what I did. I mean, I pulled back on everything. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. Leisure. Good to see you. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you, my friends. My friends. Welcome to Charging Together, Raw Recovery. There's no editing. I don't edit nothing. I don't know how to edit. I do, kind of. It's a long, arduous process, and I'm not willing to do. I don't do clips. I don't do filters. Oh, I'm definitely unfiltered. I'm definitely unfiltered. You know, it's not, I know it looks easy, but I've been doing this 7 years straight now. And before that, I was on radio, I was on TV. I've had a lot of practice at this. Okay. But it's hard as fuck to come on here with some topic, especially a topic that might feel very confrontational. It's not easy for me either. I know it's not easy for you to listen to. So if you're somebody that consistently listens to me and is still hanging out, you got something going on, my friend. You got something going on. You're not going to agree with everything I have to say. You're not going to. If you do agree with everything I say, then I'd tell now that you don't like me at all. Yeah, I'm very transparent. Clara Joyce. Just a reminder, you're chairing the meeting tonight. Oh, I'm so glad that we made a schedule. Made a schedule. That group is taking off. I love going to AAA meetings, but I get excited when that meeting comes up. Like this morning, I woke up, I'm like, yay, it's Thursday, Grassroots Day, man. A lot of cool stuff coming out of that. Thanks, brother. Thanks, Leisure. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think people understand how hard it is to come on here and do this and speak the truth. I'm not making money. So I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it for nefarious reasons, right? Um, it's been hard for me. It's been hard for me to accept that people actually like what I do. It's been very, very hard. People for years have been telling me, Dion, there's a lot of people listening to you. I'm like, there's like 3-4 people. Come on, a lot of people. And I looked into it. They were not incorrect. It's more like hundreds, which is great. Which is great. I appreciate it. But the joy that I get is from helping other people. That's the joy that I get. If I made your day, if I made your life a little bit better, not easier, but better, then awesome. Right? But I will say things that, here's what I just posted this. And not everybody's going to agree with me, right? Yeah, Leisure, you do understand. You go live too. I said I find the saying progress not perfection to be untrue. The only way to progress is by reaching for perfection. And that is the truth. People don't like being wrong. I get it. I get it. I don't mind, and I don't necessarily like being wrong either. Yeah, so I understand it. But let's get to the spiritual experience. Enough about my arduous tasks. Oh, poor me. Poor Dion, who gets to come on here with his friends 2-3 times a day and talk about what's going on. Oh, poor thing. Ain't nobody here gonna buy that one. Welcome to Daily Charge. My name is Dion. I'm the coolest Dion you'll ever meet. Just kidding. There's a lot of other cool Dions out there, like Neon Dion. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Now you may not like Neon Dion or Dion Sanders, right? He works at CU now. He's our head coach. And he may seem to do weird things, but every and I'm not big on grade point averages. But I know that every single person on the football team had like a B or above, A or B report card. What does that tell you? What does that tell you, man? You know, but educating is something that I really like to do, helping others. So I mix those things together to bring you this. I will never be on script. The number one question I get asked is, Dion, is there a consistent time at which you go live each day? And the answer will always be no. It just my life does not work that way. It's a priority for me. I've been trying to do them at 11 o'clock though, if the Mountain Standard Time. If that helps, that's when I've been trying to do them. But it really depends on when I get up and whether my bowels will let me yet. So there you go. And I don't have control over that. Let's get to the spiritual experience. All right. So we'll be on page 567 in the big book if you would like to follow along. Their teacher passing them because they're jocks. Yeah. Watch it now. Dude, watch it now. There's other cool Dion. So Dionne Warwick is awesome. Celine Dion, she's pretty cool. Dion Bonaducci. Not many people probably. Dion from Dion the Belmont. Anyways, the spiritual experience, the term spiritual experience and spiritual awakening are used many times in this book, which upon careful reading shows that the personality change sufficient to bring about recovery from alcoholism has manifested itself among us in many different forms. So the personality change that you take on, becoming that different person, that is the spiritual experience, right? There's a part in the book, lowering expectation. Thanks, Heather. Heather's tossing right on in here. It's good to see you, Heather. Oh, and Heather, I don't know if you've been invited to our grassroots meeting, but you're more than welcome to it. Yeah, if you'd like that, just let me know. I'll put the link somewhere where you can grab it. All right. So it's a personality changes. Our whole attitude, AA does for people in a matter of months what takes therapists and doctors and professionals years to do. Years and years. See, Alcoholics Anonymous is CBT. It is cognitive behavioral therapy with God. That's what it is. It isn't really more than that. CBT is a wonderful, wonderful therapy, right? Cognitive behavioral therapy. It's just creating new pathways through your brain for a different thought process. What it is. But it isn't necessarily easy to do when you have a lot of stuff blocking you, right? Removal of ego, finding yourself, definitely a spiritual experience. Yeah. See, what it does is, since I'm the one blocking myself from the sunlight of the spirit, that means that the problem is me. So with the removal of ego and finding yourself, that is definitely standing in the sunlight of the spirit. Absolutely. So, and it goes on to say it's manifested itself us in many different forms. I was just talking to a gentleman earlier, right? And he's having a hard time. He's having a hard time. Um, and I'm like, dude, you need to find God, like in a hurry. And I ain't kidding. And he's finding God in a hurry. He's like, oh, I've known God all my life. And I said, yeah, you probably have, but it ain't working. It's not working now. You probably know a lot more about religion and stuff than I do. I've never read the Bible. I don't know. And you're a pretty intelligent guy. So if that one's not working, fire his ass and get a new one. You're not going to hurt God's feelings. Like, it's your perception. Everything that you think you thought you knew about God, you got to get rid of. Okay. Even what I think is good, I've got to remove all my preconceived notions and start with a fresh, clean slate in that area so that I can give myself half a chance to find my own higher power, a power of your understanding. Well, your understanding and my understand are two different things, not two different things, but they are different, maybe in a little bit of a way. But even in that little bit of a way makes a big difference. It makes a very, very big difference. And there are as many higher powers in AA as there are people. Because God is everything. All right. Yet, it is true that our first printing gave many readers the impression that these personality changes or religious experience must be in the nature of sudden and spectacular upheavals. Happily for everyone, this conclusion is erroneous. Right? So bills, yeah. I mean, in the beginning, there's a lot of them where, thunder was struck, man. And these people got struck sober. Very overwhelming. That sounds overwhelming to me. It's not a requirement. If I can take a logical view of this, okay, see, there's a lot of things in AA history that I'm aware of that if they didn't happen, you and I would not be here. We would not be here. Okay, we can go back to Ebby. If Ebby had not gotten in trouble and with the law and the Oxford group approached him and Ebby was willing in order to become a better person, he would have never 12-step Bill. If God would not have given Bill a sudden spiritual experience, we would not be here. Bill was an arrogant fuck. He will admit it. He was. But I believe that people change. It's just, I've been hearing a lot of people cutting down Bill from the people from the program. And do you think you would have wanted to be Bill? Do you think you would have wanted to be Bill? Because I wouldn't wanted that. Could you have written the traditions? Could you have written the steps? Could you have written 164 pages on this? No. See, God did it perfectly. He did it perfectly. I don't have to like Bill, but I do have to listen. That's what it comes down to. So I won't hear any more Bill bashing in meetings. I don't care. This is not a meeting, so you can do it here. Heather says there was a difference between just knowing God, who God is, and giving up my squirrely mind ideas that I and my substances were the true higher power. That's a great way to put it, Heather. Thank you very much. All right. So Bill had a sudden, Dr. Bob did not. I believe that it should actually be the first 187 pages. I think it should end with Dr. Bob's nightmare so that people will realize, and then they wouldn't have to write this, but then I get it. The message. Yeah. The message. The message. In the first few chapters, a number of sudden revolutionary changes are described. Though it was not our intention to create such an impression, many alcoholics have nevertheless concluded that in order to recover, they must acquire an immediate and overwhelming God consciousness, followed at once by a vast change in feeling and outlook. Well, I don't know. I think we agnostics kind of explains it. I appreciate them doing that. But we alcoholics, we tend to assume, and that goes kind of back to what Heather was saying, that my squirrely mind ideas and my substances were the true higher power. That kind of goes back to that, and what I was saying anyway. Right. So no, mine was not sudden. No. Leisure says my days go a lot better when I listen to God instead of myself. Oh yeah. It's like earlier when the biggest question I get is what time do you usually do these? I don't have my only answer is God's time. When God tells me to do it, that's when I do it. But it's usually a process waking up, and it depends on what meetings I can go to that day. Um, but it's about the priority, and the daily trudge is a priority for me. After what this Friday, Saturday, I have an 80-week streak. 80 weeks I've been going every day. Now I've been doing this for anyway, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I was kind of getting into a little bragging on myself there, wasn't I? So we're gonna stop. Among our rapidly growing membership of thousands of alcoholics, such transformations, though frequent, are by no means the rule. I still meet plenty of people that get struck sober. I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful to watch. Right. Now, my big spiritual experiences, they did not happen quickly, but I have had experiences where I call it the 2x4 effect. It's where I feel a sudden change in where I've been rearranged, and it was immediate. It happened, bam. Right. I tend to get a little morose when that happens because I'm trying to figure it out. Leisure says it's crazy how many common sense answers there are in the program to our overly complicated and alcoholic problems. Yep. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Right? Yeah. Just like the seventh step tends to get overly complicated, seems to be overcomplicated by people. The sixth and the seventh step. That's a big one. But for me, I have to keep things simple because that keeps it in logic for me to where I'm doing the right thing. Often I hear people say, and I'm gonna, and this isn't for me. And then I just do the next right thing. Okay, what is that? Then tell me right now. What's the next right thing? Oh, you don't know. See, I don't know about you, but I got to ask for direction. And then I got to put action into what it is that I'm doing. Right. And that's how I get my spiritual experiences. Right. But it is quite often some people, bam, shit. That's the glory of God, man. Okay. That is the grace of God. So, all right. Most of our experiences are what the psychologist William James, not Silkworth, William James. He wrote he wrote the book A Variety of Religious Experiences or Spiritual Experiences, one of those two. He wrote that book. And was big on helping us get the message out. William James calls the educational variety because they develop slowly over a period of time. When I work with a sponsee, because I like to make references to things, and I use Karate Kid often. Karate Kid's one of the movies. Everybody, whether it was the new one you saw, whether you grew up in the 80s and that was the one you saw, everybody knows the story about the comeback of the Karate Kid who's getting picked on, who doesn't even know how to throw a punch yet, and then they get taught this weird way of learning things like sanding and waxing and picking up your coat and putting it away and crane moves and then they get frustrated. Well, I've been putting this up here and putting my coat on and da 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 for months, and I don't know. And they're all wax on. They're like, what? Yes, We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. AA is very much the Karate Kid. And then when I'm talking to them later and they come to sudden epiphanies, I'm like, Karate Kid. And they're like, yeah, it is. Isn't that so cool? And then they get more enthused. Then they want the program more. Then they go help more people. It's so cool. That's so cool, man. All right. It's going to go on to say that usually we're aware of the difference way before the newcomer is. Okay. So before I get to that part, what I'm gonna say on that is if there's a new person there and you've seen change, you've seen progress, fucking tell them, would you? Tell them. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I noticed something. You know, because maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe the pink cloud has ended. Maybe somebody had a slip and they came right back. Oh, woe is me. Fucking preach on that shit. Tell them how proud you are because they came back. And that is not old behavior. That is new behavior. And that is fucking progress. And that is God working in your life. You asked for it and he gave it to you. And you're sitting here and you're doing it. Isn't that cool? And you know what'll happen? They'll come back. They'll come back. We've never been encouraged. You know, we're not witch burners, but we do encourage, right? So, all right. Quite often, the friends of the newcomer are aware of the difference long before he is himself. I am. Oh, Amber's going to give me some shit here real quick. I'm sure of it. Oh, you're a late wizard. Okay. That you meant to arrive late. So there you go. You know, he finally realizes that he has undergone a profound alteration in his reaction to life. Yeah, absolutely. Even when the consequences seem bad, Leisure, celebrate change instead of fearing it. Yes. Because if you're not celebrating their change, let me rephrase that because it may sound like I'm saying it directly to you and I'm not. When I don't celebrate that change for them, I'm in fear. I don't really want it for them. And I've got to change that, right? So our reactions to life, right? I still have anger. They're like, oh, my anger has been removed. Hallelujah. Bullshit. How about this? You drive me home and I'll get to see your anger. How about that? Or do something that makes that person react. The anger will come out. It's what you do with that anger that matters. It is my reaction to life that matters. Okay. Because my feeling isn't a fact. And the fact is, my feeling isn't a fact. You know, I want it to be, even to this day. Why? Because that would give me justification for my anger because you did something to me. That's not going to fly anymore, is it? It doesn't, that isn't going to go well with us, is it? Doesn't sit right. So a profound alteration in my reaction to life, that such a change could hardly have been brought about by himself alone. And that doesn't mean just God. It means you too. No. Why? Because you are God, but you ain't playing God. But God speaks through you. I'm a vessel. I'm a vessel. What did Leisure say earlier? It's not the messenger, it's the message. I'm just carrying the message. I'm a messenger. I'm God's messenger. And I don't want to be more than that. I don't need to be more than that anymore. I don't need everybody's praise in order for my self-esteem to be okay. Does it help? Yes. But that's like, money doesn't make me happy, but it'll make me happier. If I'm depressed and you give me $10,000, I'm still depressed. Yes, I am. No, it's not going to change my mood. Even if it's $1 million, I'm still going to be depressed. It's not going to change it. But maybe I go to a meeting and some guy that's been trying for months just to scrape together 30 days got his 30 days. That might get me out of my depression. That might do it. Huh? It's neat stuff, man. So it couldn't be, we don't do it alone, and you don't need to do it alone. If you're having a hard time finding somebody to be a part of your adventure, join Grassroots, man. Come here, hang out with us. Why? Because we're the odd ducks. You found the odd duck place. Isaac is stuck on this story on my horror podcast. It's about children being vessels for a demon. That's no coincidence, no, is it? That's funny. He's like, and your friend Dion, he's being a vessel? All right. That's funny, Amber. Thank you. Oh. It's funny. I think I laugh more here than I do anywhere else. Well, except for some of the shows that I watch a lot of comedy because laughter is the best medicine, right? So, he finally realized he's undergone what often takes place in a few months could have seldom been accomplished by years of self-discipline. It's true, okay? See, and I'm going to talk about time just for a little bit here. Time is what I call the fickle mistress. Time is confused. The understanding, Mr. Blue, Mr. Brown, Miss Green, and Miss Red are the kidnappers. Oh, dear Lord. Time. Well, you know what? If that's what you grew up on, then that's what he's going to listen to. He's going to do whatever you do. I was the same way. I remember I used to finish my classwork. I think this was in 4th grade. Yeah, 4th grade, because it was the last class I was in. I'm surprised they even had it. And what I do is I go listen to the Ichabod Crane story by myself. And I still listen to horror stories. I love horror stories. I'm big into the afterlife and ghosts, and maybe we should have a Grassroots paranormal team. but we only help alcoholic ghosts. All right, let's get back to time. We had no time. We had fun screwing around a little bit. Time is good for a few things. Number one, it with enough time, like that 30 days, man. Okay, let's talk about the 30 days, because 30 days is longer than 9 years. I'm coming up on March, April, next month, about a month, I'll have 9 years. Okay, 30 days is longer than 9 years. And we can all agree on that, right? Do you think people out there, non-alcoholics, understand that? No. See, it's an experience that we go through, and it's that 30 days, those experience of those 30 days that kind of sets us apart, right? So what other things is time good for? Time really is only for qualification, sure, 30, 60, 90, and I think it's great that we celebrate on those. We need that, right? But really time is just for non-alcoholics to trust you again. That's all it's really good for, right? Because we live a day at a time. Yeah, we live a day at a time. There is no advanced AA. There is no advanced AA 201. It's not there. We're all equal when it comes to that. Every single person, every single recovered alcoholic is an arm length away from the next drink. All of us. And all we get is a daily reprieve. We do not get a weekly, a monthly, a yearly. No, you get a daily reprieve. And that's true for everybody in the world. Yes. Every religion talks about it. So something must be right. Kurt Joyce saying, took me 3 years to hear I believe you. Yeah. 3 years. And in this grand scheme of 20 years of drinking, it really isn't that long, is it? Took me 8 years before I had all my kids back. 8 years. Right. Leisure before that had said, too much time on my, is my favorite Styx song. Too much time on my hands. All right. Can't sing too long or they cut my video. Amber says, I need more time in the day. She says that because she's a mother. I just did this post. It's Wanda Sykes talking to this lady. She's like a therapist. And she's explaining why her mom is crazy. It's like, well, when you were born and you didn't sleep for 60 days, neither did she. When you didn't eat for however long and you threw up on her and she just named stuff. And then she's like, so why is your mother crazy? Because of you, motherfucker. That's the way Wanda Sykes says it. And I laughed because that was me. I'm the one that drove, right? All those years of sitting up at night wondering if her little boy was going to be dead. Yeah, I'm laughing at it now. I can laugh at it now. Okay. It was pretty funny. All right. With few exceptions, our members find that they have tapped an unsuspecting inner resource which they presently identify with their own conception of a power greater than themselves. Back to Karate Kid. That's kind of the point of the whole movie. You had it in you the whole time, kid. That's the point. Okay? But we have to practice it. In order to get to it, we must practice it. So we practice the principles of the program. We get a new purview on life. We say things just a little differently, right? Or a lot differently. We where we went from being angry, we go out into the world and suddenly we have some patience, tolerance, kindliness, and love. And I don't care if she's on Epstein's anything, dude. Why we got to put Epstein in this? I forgot what I was saying. All right. Most of us think this awareness of a power greater than ourselves is the essence of a spiritual experience. Our more religious members call it God consciousness. I think God consciousness is a little different. There was a lot of, for me, there was a lot of work I had to do to get rid of all the bullshit. And there was a lot of stuff blocking me from God, right? When does when I talk about God's time, that's what I'm talking about. God tells me what is next, almost always. My phone will ding. Somebody will call me. Something will happen, right? Is because I'm open to it. I ask God for direction, and then I shut the fuck up and I listen. Right? May I go to a meeting? I was at a meeting earlier. I was at a noon meeting. But the guy that came to the meeting at 10 o'clock, who took a 30-day chip and all this other stuff, admitted that he'd been drinking the whole time. So I left the meeting and I spoke with him. That was a priority. That was God telling me, hey, Dion, my child needs your help. You got it, God. You got it, right? And he's been trying to call me for weeks, but he knew there was no way that he'd get away with talking sideways with me. I think people understand that. And I told him, I'm the last block on the house, dude. I'm the last block on the house. So I did a few things. He picked a good sponsor. I like the guy that he picked. But what I told him was, I'm like, you need some accountability. We talked about the God thing earlier. I'm like, you need some accountability, man. Okay. So if your sponsor doesn't do this, and please don't take it wrong because you got a great sponsor, he just might do things differently. Okay. But if you're not required to call him or text him at night, every night you go to bed, then you're going to have to do it with me. I told him, before you go to bed every single night, you need to text me and tell me that you stayed sober for that day. And it will help him. It will help him because he believes me, because he trusts me, because he knows I don't fuck around with this stuff. And I even told him why. I'm like, because what happens is you might want to go drink, but then the next thought will be, well, I can't. I need to text Dion later. And that's a great excuse to not drink, isn't it? He's like, yeah, it is. Yeah. Let's give him some hope. Some hope. And it was funny because I said, I don't know about anybody else in the meeting, but I knew you were being dishonest. Because what happens when somebody sobers up, they change physically. And that wasn't happening. No, he still had the dreary eyes, the droopy look, the look of an alcoholic. I can spot a drinking alcoholic from a mile away. Yeah. Anyway, and I hope I helped him. I hope I did. Main thing was this, he was honest and he ain't giving up. I can respect that. I can respect the fact that he's not giving up on himself. It's a big thing, man. It's a big thing. Fills my heart with love. That's what it does. All right. Yeah. Integrity. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Amber. A word that I haven't heard in a long time. Integrity. Heather says accountability is new to me, but it certainly helps. In my experience in working with people, there are two things that really, really keep alcoholics sober. One, they understand that their drinking is affecting others in a very horrid way, and accountability. Yeah. The other thing I told him to do, he's like, and each night. And I heard that and I said, okay, you're missing something. I'm like, you're not going to meetings after 5 o'clock, are you? He's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, you need to start doing that. What you need to do is you need to go to a meeting at night, and that will help you with that. He's like, oh, that's a good idea. See, we can have these ideas. For us, that's simple. It's straightforward. But when we're on the juice, man, we can't see that. And consistency. Yes. Consistency would be a big one too. Accountability and consistent. Yeah, your accountability ain't going to be much without consistency. Absolutely. Yeah. And practicing picking up the phone. Amber, I'm just going to go ahead and send this on over to you. I just say that because you're on a roll. And I can't actually do that because your camera's not on her. It's just not possible. But yeah, everybody's right on with all that. Absolutely. So, most of us think this awareness of a power greater than ourselves is the essence of a spiritual experience. I already read this. Most emphatically, we wish to say that any alcoholic capable of honestly facing his problems in the light of our experience can recover, provided he does not close his mind to all spiritual concepts. He can only be defeated by an attitude of intolerance or belligerent denial. True. It's true. I'm going to do something here real quick. I'm going to just give me a second here. Members. I'm going to put the link to our WhatsApp group in here. And if anybody wants to join, even any of my other listeners, if you want to join, as long as you're, remember I do closed AA meeting stuff. So know that it's going to be in that arena, and that'll help you get to the meetings that we hold. They're all Zoom meetings. We meet on Thursdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and Tuesdays and Fridays at noon Mountain Standard Time. But it's growing fast, like real fast. Tonight, we're going to have to take some votes on some stuff. I'm going to have to call a little bit of a group conscious, actually. All right. So he can only be defeated by an attitude of intolerance or belligerent denial. We find that no one need have difficulty with the spirituality of the program. All right. I'm going to take something Amber's kind of been saying lately. When it comes to the spirituality of the program, it's as hard as you decide to make it. Yeah. And if the higher power that you have right now or the God that you have right now is not working, then fire them and get a new one. But I had to get rid of all my preconceived notions of what I thought God was. And I had been in the program before, and I still had to do it and start from a clean slate. And my higher power gave me that. That was a grace that my higher power gave me. You know, my higher power has never tested my sobriety. He ain't got time for that crap. I'm the one that does that. Okay. God did not make me walk down the alcohol aisle. God did not create that ad over there with the Cuervo on it. Okay. He didn't do any of that. Willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness are the essentials of recovery, but they are indispensable. Yes, I use willingness as in every step. And so willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness, they aren't just the essentials, it's a process. Okay. This stuff comes with awareness, acceptance, consistency, integrity, a lot of the other stuff that we've been talking about. Okay. But it usually starts with willingness. I'm willing to be honest. I'm willing to be open-minded. I'm open-minded to be willing. See, it doesn't work. I'm honest to be willing. Doesn't work, does it? I'm honest to be open-minded. That might work. But willingness is the first one for me, right? Willingness is also awareness. Honesty is acceptance, right? Yeah, I've actually I know several people, Leisure, that love is somebody's God, and I absolutely agree with it. It's bigger than you. That love's bigger than everything else in the world. And the Beatles were right. All you need is love. It's the answer to everything. You know what? It isn't the answer. Hate. Ever. Yeah. Closed-mindedness. They never work. At least they've never worked for me. All right. Got to kind of wrap this up so I can get the 5 o'clock meeting kind of set up. There is a principle, which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all arguments, and which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. That principle is contempt prior to investigation. Okay. So I can't contempt anything. I'm really glad that I got to a point in my sobriety and in my recovery where I started to look where religious people were correct. Because all I ever saw were bench warmers, and I had my, but to single people out and do that is pretty unfair, man. I'm glad that my mind doesn't need to go running around judging everybody now to make me feel better. See, my judgment of other people stopped when I got some self-esteem, when I started doing things for Dion that were esteemable. Yeah, that's when the judging kind of stopped. When I felt like a useful member of society again. I'm not saying I don't get intrusive thoughts. Still happens, you bet. But not like they used to. Not like it used to. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. That's the spiritual experience. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out.